Step aside, Eugene! There's a new best Dragon Empire deck, and its name is Trickstar! Stand up! Vanguard! Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to another Cardfight update, and today we've got a very exciting Cardfight update because not only do we see the brand new Vairina for Dragon Empire, we also see the news that's going to come after set 2, and it's very exciting stuff that's going to happen on the horizon. But before we head into all those information tidbits, let's first take a look at some new couple of promos that have been revealed for the V-Series, as well as a new promo for Overdress, and then we dive into the new Dragon Empire card, as well as what's going to happen in set 3 and onwards. So first off, we have a brand new Kagero promo for the V-Series. So keep in mind, this is for Kagero in V Premium and in Premium. It's no Overdress card. And this great one is Volunterober Dragon, if I pronounce that correctly. And its skills are Auto from Soul. At the start of your main phase, if your opponent does not have any rear guards, you may call this card to the rear guard circle. So it's a 3+, which can be useful, but honestly I don't really like this skill all too much, because the only way to get this thing into the soul, as far as I'm aware, is by riding. And then it's a very conditional way to plus of it, but it costs you a soul. There are other grade 1 ride targets that can plus you much easier and much cheaper, like Sable Dragon Nude, for example, so I'm not too much fan of this particular skill. But it has another skill, which is Act on Rear Guard Circle, cost, count up as 1, retire this unit, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, and retire all of your opponent's rear guards with the same grade as that unit. If they have an entire back row filled with grade 1s, you can retire them all for this singular cost. If they have multiple grade 2s in the field, again, you can snipe them all at once. Now this doesn't sound all too great because it's very conditional, but with the brand new Seal Dragons on the horizon and them doing all these grade 2 shenanigans and forcing your opponent to call those grade 2s, this might actually be a very powerful tool for the upcoming Seal Dragon support in the V-Series with the new V-Clan collection set. So it's a bit too early to write this card off just yet. Right now, with the support that we have and how Kagero works in either V Premium or Premium, I don't like this card, but with Seal Dragons, this could all completely change. Now, as for the second new V promo, we've got a brand new Nova Grappler grade 1 unit, which is Swordbrand Gladiator. And this unit also has 2 skills, from which one is Auto and Vanguard Circle. One is unit attack hits, draw a card. It's not something new, we've seen this multiple times again, and then also as a secondary effect, it has auto when this unit is placed on the rearguard circle. If the number of cards in your hand is 3 or less, cost soul plus 1, draw a card. Then if the number of rearguards you have is 2 or less, draw a card. This skill reminds me of Claydol Mechanic, where it is an oh crap button when things go south and you need a bit more resources so you can do still a couple of things. Now, I do think this is a bit better than Claydol Mechanic, because if I remember correctly, Claydol Mechanic has a very harsh condition and can only draw 1 card the moment it's placed, whereas this could potentially draw you 2 cards and it has 2 different conditions. Now overall, I don't think this is going to be as impactful in the V-Series, but for Premium, this might actually be a very powerful card, because for Premium Nova Grappler, every extra rearguard you get counts. So having the ability that if you just survived your opponent's onslaught and you have just this card and it could potentially draw you 2 new units, that could be a game changer for Nova Grappler. So I do see some potential in this card, but I think it's too early for me to say if it's gonna be used or not, but I see potential for it. Now, as I said, there's also a Overdress promo. In this case, it's a brand new grade 3 for Dark States, and surprisingly, it's actually a very interesting card that could be very useful, as we have Full Cal Scythe Dragon, and its abilities are Act on rearguard circle once a turn, cost soul plus 2, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and retire it. So we have pinpoint removal for Dark State. As far as I'm aware, we didn't really have something like this, so this is nice to have better consistent removal, as the only other option that I can remember off the top of my head is with Eden, but that's an unhit, so that isn't consistent enough for spot removal. And then to fuel that soul cost, we have the second effect, which is on rearguard circle. When the attack of this unit hits, you may soul charge 2. So it's on hit soul charge that, if we played with Bruce, has 2 hits. Now, incidentally, in that that respect, it's similar to Eden, because if you hit, you pay for the cost to snipe something. However, in Eden's case, you still need to pay the counterblast, whereas in this case, the unit refunds its own cost. So, depending on your playstyle, if you want this or not, it could be a nice tech option, but I think there might be more future potential when we are less soul reliant like Bruce and Baron Magnus, and we can then tech this in for just more control options. Now, with those promos out of the way, let's take a look at the brand new reveals for Dragon Empire for the upcoming Set 2 Brush with the Legends, and oh boy, are they spicy! So first off, we got a brand new common grade 2 in the likes of Armored Dragon Mount Cannon. And Mount Cannon has the ability Auto Front Row Rearguard Circle when your grade 0 unit attacks. Interesting. This unit and the unit that attacked gets power plus 5k until the end of turn. So basically what this wants us to do is be a bit more aggressive with Trickstar, as usually when we go up the right line and we ride up to grade 2, we need to call Trickstar to the field, but we don't really do anything with it. Maybe boost with it, but that's about it. Now, in this case, we can actually turn the Trickster into a 10k attacker, and this grade 2 becomes a 13k attacker, which is nice on turn 2, because that means the Trickster hits against an opponent's grade 2 Vanguard, so you can be a bit more aggressive out of the gate. And this does synergize with the Blaze Maiden engine that was revealed at the beginning of this set reveals, that also works with grade 0s. So there is some grade 0 synergy going on here. However, this actually alludes to something completely different that you will see once we take a look at the other two support cards. But I want to say that I'm not too much fan of this card because it's a grade 2 and it needs specifically be in the front row, which is kind of awkward, as it means you are sacrificing the slots that could be to one of your Overdress units. And yes, I'm referring to Overdress because this is going to be a very Overdress specific playstyle. So I don't like it because of that restriction, and probably this card won't be played unless you're going to play a more budget-friendly alternative with the Blaze Maidens that doesn't really rely heavily on the new Vairina, as well as Overdressed in general. Now, if we take a look at the second card that was revealed, that's a brand new grade 3 double R, that is Blaze Fist Monk Damari. And Damari has the ability Auto Rearguard Circle. At the end of the battle, this unit attack, cost, Counterblast 1, and Soul Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's front row rear guards, retire it, and if your Vanguard is Chakravarti Divine Dragon Nirvana, choose up to one grade 0 card from your drop and call to the rearguard circle. So this is basically multi-attack in Overdress, because what you can do is you can swing with your side column, then swing with this, and then call Trickster to the other column, and if there's a booster left, you can attack with the Trickster boosted. That's probably a 13k column. Now, you don't necessarily have to call the Trickster to the other column, because you can also call Trickster on top of this guy, because it's at the end of the battle, thus this unit already attacked. Thus, allowing you to leave that column on the side for an Overdress unit, thus gaining more value of Chakravarti's Divine Dragon Nirvana's on attack skill with the Overdress clause. Now, this is actually pretty interesting because it gives multi-attack to the Overdress deck, and it is something they need. Yes, they have Valiente, but Valiente isn't consistent enough, and you need to set that up to be able to get that extra attack off that unit. This is much more consistent and does allow you to gain more value. Now, you might think to yourself, the Counterblast might be a bit too heavy, because we know that Counterblast is very restrictive in the Overdress deck, and just gaining an extra 13k attack doesn't warrant the extra Counterblast, if I'm gonna be very honest. Was it not for the next reveal being so insane that it justifies this and makes the entire engine insane? So let's take a look at the new Vairina and understand why this grade 3 is pretty good and why the new evolution of the Overdress deck is kind of bonkers. So here we have the brand new triple R grade 2 Vairina Elgar. And Vairina Elgar is a work of art. Now, first off, it has the Overdress Trickster clause, so it can only Overdress over Trickster, so no Valiente shenanigans here. Of course, Valiente can Overdress on top of this thing, but we might not want to do that, as you're gonna see in a second. But first off, his first ability is insane, as that's Auto from hand. At the end of the battle, your Trickstar attacked a Vanguard. If your Vanguard is Chakravarti Divine Dragon Nirvana, cost, Soul Blast 2, Overdress this card on your Trickster on the rearguard circle as stand and counter charge 1. So for 2 soul, we get a extra attack out of a unit, so we multi-attack for 2 soul and we counter charge. So that's 1 soul for an attack and 1 soul for a counter charge. That's insane value. just out the gate, that's insane value, as we need to countercharge very much in Overdress to keep our engine going. But now that this card allows us to Overdress on top of a Trickstar for a multi-tech and it countercharges, now we can see why that Grade 3 is so important and so powerful for the Vairina deck. Because what we can do is we can get a Overdress unit to the side, then call it Grade 3 here, attack with the Grade 3, use its ability, counter +1, soul +1, maybe soul blast a Trickster if that was our starter, then call the Trickster on top of him, then attack with the booster, so that's 13 and then another 13k column, so 2 13k attacks. Then we use this Elgar to Overdress on top of the Trickstar for 2 soul. Then we countercharge the same counterblast cost that we used for the Grade 3, which now can be used for Nirvana. And because we have Elgar in a standing position, which has the Overdress keyword, that means the moment that we attack with our Vanguard, both our columns to the side are gonna get an additional 10k power, as we have once again Overdress units in the front row. And that's the field that we are playing right now with set 1 Overdress. So we do the exact same things, but we now have 2 13k attacks in front of it, which is pretty good. And on top of that, we don't even have to go that direction, because we can just use Elgar normally with Trickstar and use Elgar as a countercharge engine to fuel our game plan just every single turn onwards. So we can just rely on Arcs multiple turns and have Nirvana multiple turns and even have the counterblast available for Valiente, which is ridiculous. This is insanely good. But on top of that, this card also has the extra addition of Continuous Rearguard and Guardian Circle. Yes, Guardian Circle. If this unit is in the Overdress state, this unit gets power plus 10k and shield plus 10k, active on opponent's turn too. So this is basically a power creep version of the original Vairina, because the original Vairina was a 20k attacker. This is also 20k attacker, but this is now also a 15k shield. And it allows us to multi-tech for the same cost that the normal Vairina does to just snipe a unit. Yeah, I know well which Vairina I'm definitely gonna run in my new Overdress deck. This is ridiculous. So this is what I meant with that you probably don't want to Overdress Valiente on top of this unit, because you want to use this probably as a shield. 15k shield is pretty strong, and I don't mind losing the 2 cards, because keep in mind, next turn I can resurrect the Trickster from the drop zone and then multi-tech probably again with a new Elgar in my hand. That's pretty good! But another interesting thing that comes from this card that we now basically are confirming is that overdressing on top of a unit doesn't necessarily put them into the standing position. And what I'm referring to here is a question that I had regarding the Eugene deck, because Eugene rests your units. And I wanted to know if I rest a Trickstar and then overdress a Vairina on top of it, does it come in the standing position or in the rest position? And because this card specifically states that you are standing it, that means that if you overdress on top of a unit, it overdress in the exact same state that the unit already is. So we can at least confirm this particular ruling. At least that's what I'm deriving from the wording of this particular skill. But if this hype wasn't enough for you, for all the overdress fanboys out of there, I got great news. Because set 3 was confirmed, and for set 3, we saw this image. Yes, a brand new Vairina form, but it looks pretty interesting because it looks like a Pegasus unit, and as other players have been pointing out, it does resemble Aura Geyser to some extent, as Aura Geyser is probably one of the dominant units that looks like a horse-ish card, and this new Vairina is basically that. But they also gave us a description of this Vairina, because the name of this unit is Vairina Expecta. Insert potential Harry Potter joke here, but the description for this card reads as: use your original dresses to make a powerful attack. This sounds to me that it's going to be similar to Valiente in the likes that you can overdress this multiple times, but probably it has something like a Soul Blast-ish skill where you can blast all the original dresses underneath it to activate for a powerful skill. Or maybe it has a skill that counts an X amount of overdress cards and then does something depending on the amount of cards that are beneath it. Basically similar to what we see with Gastille or with Mystery Flare, something in the vein like that, but then with the original dress cards. But besides that, I am all hyped for this one. But this isn't the only thing for set 3, because for set 3, they also revealed this. And these are the brand new right line boss units that are coming in set 3. On the left, we have a brand new Dark Stage unit with the name Demon Dragon of Greed, Greedon. It basically looks like a mix of Dark Railers and Pale Moon, and interesting enough, it has this Halloween theming with a pumpkin on it. That could be something like Nightmare Land-ish or something. But its description reads as, gather allies for a stronger power. Could literally mean anything. It sounds more like a Royal Paladin-ish thing, but maybe it has something to do with Pale Moon, with being able to call it a field from the soul or something, but we have to wait and see. Now in the middle one, we see a brand new Brand Gate unit with the name Gravitea Nel Tringa, and its description reads as, wipe out your opponent's rearguards with meteorites. Sounds pretty cool. Like, it sounds like it looks a bit like a mix between the leaders and messiahs or something. Pick your choice what you think about this card. It could literally be any type of Link Joker card. But then on the left, I probably don't have to explain what this is, what we're looking at. It's literally Maelstrom's son. That's what it is. It's basically derpy Mealstrom because it has this horn on his head, which make it a bit look derpy, but I don't care. I love this card. I want to play it. I want to know what this does. And at least we know its name, which is Flagship Dragon, Flagberg Dragon. Of course, that's the name, but then its description of its potential skill, you probably can guess it. It reads as, has a skill that activates based on how many attacks have happened that turn. It's literally Aquaforce. It's literally Maelstrom. It's literally Aquaforce. You know what? I'm not even mad about it. Like, it's Maelstrom. I don't care. I'm a Maelstrom fanboy. I want to know what this card is. I'm gonna play the right line. I don't care. I'm just excited for this. Also, the new Vairina looks pretty tasty, and I cannot wait to see what that Vairina brings. But first off, we got Elgar, and Elgar is great. But that also concludes all the news that we got today. Now, next week, we're going to have some exciting new stuff, because we're going to see the reveal of Things Saver Dragon. Yes, I wasn't expecting the V-Clan collection reveals to come this fast, but apparently that's going to be the case. And we're going to see set 3 DSR artworks, because they announced, and I think we already knew this, but the DSRs for set 3 are going to be Seraph Snow as well as Magnolia. And next week we're going to see the artwork of these DSRs. So we see Megamine as well as... I'm so sorry, Different Fight. I cannot... I don't know her name. What's her name? I just kind of... Tomari, that's it, Tomari. That was definitely not a dig to who's best girl or not. I'm just bad with names sometimes. But those are going to be the reveals next week. So we have some exciting new stuff again next time. But before we head into that part, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these new reveals for Dragon Empire. Are you excited for the new Overdress stuff? And what do you think of the confirmed news for set 3? Are you excited for the prospect of a brand new Vairina, which was to be expected, but what do you think of the brand new ride lines for Brand Gate, Dark States, as well as Stoikea? Let me know in the comments down below, because the hype for Overdress just doesn't cease to stop, is what I'm getting from this. So let me know all your thoughts down below. As always, this video has been brought to you by our lovely patrons over patreon.com/VanguardInsider. You guys are amazing. If you do want to support channel or everything that's happening on the channel, you can simply go to patreon.com/VanguardInsider and become a patron today. But with that said, I'm Mr. Time Leap, and I see you guys in the next one!